But actually, I forgot to tell you, we were talking about like our first week, what people had to say. Well, the WNBA fined me for
No! You got fined for episode 1?
Dude, they fined me $1,500. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is just the beginning. It's like, you're kidding.
Every time Sophie Cunningham dares to speak up about the truth behind the WNBA's chaos, her GM's inbox lights up again. Another email, another fine, another penalty for honesty. The league isn't just doubling down anymore. They've gone full throttle, tripling her punishment for refusing to play by their silent rules.
They fined her again. Sophie Cunningham has now been fined 4 times this season. She's had 4 separate fines this season. And she got fined for comments on a podcast episode about referees. And it wasn't even like it was that bad.
What began as a simple podcast launch has now exploded into a full-blown controversy. Sophie Cunningham kicked off her new show, Show Me Something, on the Colin Cowherd's media network, The Volume. And just days after her debut episode aired, the WNBA slapped her with a $1,500 fine. Not $500 like before. Not a warning. $1,500. For simply admitting that referees are human, that they make mistakes, and that there have been way too many of them lately.
Man, leave Sophie Cunningham alone, Kathy Engelbert. Don't nobody care about that corrupted WNBA and those corrupted referees. Y'all want to fine her $500. Why? Because y'all feeling some type of way because you, as the commissioner, not doing your job for that bum league. You hear me? At the end of the day, y'all have so many injuries. It's crazy. Y'all have over 150 injuries this year recorded. That's insane. Something not.
If you're enjoying this, hit subscribe, because what happened next is wild. Sophie did something truly unheard of in today's WNBA. She told the truth. She said, "If I were a ref, I'd mess up too. I know it's not an easy job. But when it's a simple call right in front of your face and you miss it multiple times, what are you doing?" She wasn't attacking anyone. She was being fair, honest, and even humble enough to admit she wouldn't want their job.
If they didn't like you then, they sure aren't going to like you now. Sophie Cunningham has been making waves with the new podcast that she is now featured in, courtesy of The Volume. Sophie Cunningham letting it all out and not holding back one.
She went out of her way to be balanced, acknowledged how difficult officiating can be, and still, $1,500 gone. Sophie even joked that her teammates are always on edge, saying things like, "Oh no, what's she gonna say next?" Imagine that. A locker room full of professionals afraid to be associated with honesty. That says everything. And remember, this isn't Sophie's first run-in with the WNBA fine system. Not even close.
And she pulls me aside and she goes, "Come here, Soph, I have to talk to you." And this was in like front of everybody. And I was like, "What did I do now?" And she just smiled and she goes, "Hey, they're going to fine you again." They're like, I was like, I even told them, I even credited them that their job was hard. I did say that. And I said that I would not do it.
Earlier this year, Sophie got fined $500 for a TikTok lip sync to Sabrina Carpenter's Man-Child, a video that pulled in over 1.3 million views. Her reaction? Pure sarcasm. Ick, why this is funny to me. Like, okay, you got it, bud. Because there aren't bigger problems in this league, right? Then came the infamous Connecticut Sun Brawl, where she was fined $900 for defending Caitlin Clark. After Clark was poked in the eye and shoved to the floor, Sophie delivered a hard foul that sent a message. Mess with our star. Deal with the consequences. For standing up for her teammate. She got hit again.
The world of what they dealing with. So you telling me if I'm getting bullied, I can't make a video about it? You gonna punish me? Because I'm letting everybody know and the whole world know what's going on with me and that I'm crying out for help. So, you gonna make me the bad guy?
Let's crunch the numbers. $500 for TikTok, $900 for defending Clark, $1,500 for a podcast. That's nearly $3,000 in fines this season for telling the truth, for protecting her teammate, for having an opinion. Considering WNBA rookies earn around $60,000, that's a big financial hit. But here's where it backfires. Every fine makes Sophie bigger. After the Sun incident, her following jumped from $350K to over $1.6 million. That $500 TikTok, it pulled millions of views. The league is trying to silence her, and instead, they're building her brand.
Is it uncommon for coaches or players to get fined in a professional league when talking about officiating? No, that's not uncommon. However, when your league is looking worse than the NFL on officiating, you know what you might ought to do? Sit down in the corner and shut the bleep up. And maybe you ought not be fining your players over it, because your officiating is dog shit.
On her podcast, Sophie said it best. 95% of people who watch the WNBA agree with me. And she's not wrong. Every fan poll, every discussion thread, every stat points to the same conclusion. Officiating has been awful. Angel Reese, Elizabeth Williams, and even coaches like Becky Hammond and Stephanie White have said it too, and they've all been fined. Even Commissioner Kathy Engelbert admitted the league has consistency issues. So if the commissioner agrees officiating is inconsistent, how is Sophie wrong for saying the same thing? The answer is simple. They're not punishing what she said. They're punishing that she said it out loud.
It wasn't that long ago that Sophie Cunningham made this little TikTok video. And in said TikTok video, and you can see right here, this was July 23rd, she put this up and said she got fined $500 by the WNBA for criticizing the ref.
Sophie perfectly described the toxic mindset that's taken over the league. She said, I know the talks Phoenix had, like, we're going to show her what the W is really like. Sure, that's normal rookie hazing. But with Caitlin Clark, it's gone way too far. It's personal. And yet, the players who throw cheap shots get away with it. Marina Mabrey's dangerous hit on Clark barely got upgraded to a flagrant after public outrage. But Sophie talks about officiating. Instant fine. The message couldn't be clearer. Hurt players physically, no big deal. Hurt feelings at league headquarters? You'll pay for it.
After 6 years of anonymity, Sophie Cunningham has suddenly become a superstar this season. Why? How did she accomplish the previously unachievable? How did she become a star in a league that seems to be allergic to star power? To her credit, Sophie Cunningham used her brain. She noticed that the path to stardom had already been cleared for her. She emulated the strategy that was utilized by Draymond Green.
But Sophie doesn't care. She's proven that being real beats being politically correct every single time. When she called Caitlin Clark's critics dumb, she wasn't being rude. She was being accurate. Every number backs her up. Ticket sales, TV ratings, merch, attendance, all skyrocket because of Clark. Sophie even joked that Clark's fame is a cult following. She said she's seen A-list stars like Travis Kelce flying to Iowa just to watch her play. That's a once-in-a-generation level of fame. And Sophie's the only player brave enough to acknowledge it. And let's be real, a $1,500 fine for her equals what would be a $200,000 fine in the NBA. It's insane.
Yes. But, I mean, here's the thing. Are the WNBA referees just kind of bad, especially this season? Yeah, they are. And I think they're just bad all around. You know, it's not even just like one player or one team or anything else like that. Like, they're just overall, like, really bad. But here's the thing, right? Here's what I think, and this is not just pertaining to the WNBA, but just any sports league that has some sort of referee or just some sort of refereeing official. I think after every game, there should be a post-game conference for the referees, just like how there are for the players. And like I said, not even just in the WNBA, but in all sports leagues, because some of the calls that are made, I genuinely look and I'm wondering if I'm watching the same game as the...
Even her teammates know what's up. When Sophie got word about her $1,500 fine, no one was shocked. They were just nervous. Because in today's WNBA, honesty equals punishment. Players are terrified to speak their minds. That alone shows how toxic things have become under Cathy Engelbert's leadership. Meanwhile, Sophie's podcast with a volume has turned her into one of the most important voices in women's sports. She's fearless, unfiltered, and real. Everything this league desperately needs, but can't seem to handle.
You have seen players in our league try to toughen up Caitlin. I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room of no, we're going to prove her, we're going to show her what the W really is. I'm what are people doing? It's just too much.
Finally, someone who gets it. Finally, someone in the WNBA who understands this thing called business.
Sophie's rise from bench player to media powerhouse happened because she understood what fans actually want. Authenticity, not PR-trained interviews, not scripted answers. Real talk. Every time the league finds her influence multiplies. The $500 TikTok fine made her viral. The $900 brawl fine made her a hero. And the $1,500 podcast fine, that crowned her as one of the boldest voices in sports. Honestly, at this point, Cathy Engelbert should be paying Sophie instead of punishing her. She's done more for the WNBA's visibility than any marketing department ever could.
She calls out the people out there who refuse to say Caitlin Clark is the face of the league. People who would rather say this person and that person. What about her? What about her? No, there is only one face of the WNBA. There's only one person that has casuals sitting down in front of a TV, glued to their sofa, watching the WNBA. Sophie Cunningham.
The real scandal here isn't Sophie criticizing refs. It's the WNBA's obsession with silencing anyone who does. Instead of fixing officiating, they find the people pointing out the problem. Instead of protecting their stars, they punish the ones who defend them. Sophie embodies everything the league claims to stand for: courage, loyalty, honesty, and connection with fans. She's turned every fine into a badge of honor. And every time she speaks out, the fan base grows louder in support. The message couldn't be clearer. The more they try to silence Sophie